Hey everyone, this is Vicente.
And this is Izzy.
And welcome back to the IV Podcast. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we're at the last film of the Jurassic Park franchise, and it is Jurassic World Dominion. Now, before we get started, I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone who was watching and liked our Star Wars video. And yes, we're going to cover Star Wars for people that don't know. I'm excited. Like, just doing video on that one podcast episode, holy crap. It's amazing besides just doing audio.
Yeah, we were not expecting that much of an audience growth, so thank you guys so much.
Yeah, and I'm going to work better like looking at the camera directly because I know for some I was like kind of like this, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
When we were just doing audio episodes, I would kind of like move my body around a little bit, so I'm just going to say focus on you guys. But yeah, just thank you so much. Keep watching that video, and our audio versions will be on Spotify. We'll leave it in the comment section below if you just want to listen to the audio version and you don't want to see at least her gorgeous face and my scruffy nerf herder look. But yeah, anyways, let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Jurassic World Dominion. Holy crap, Izzy, we got a lot to say about this movie.
Yeah, we do. This movie was fun, but it also still has its own issues.
Yep. And I talked to Izzy about it earlier, and I asked her, which one did you like better, Fallen Kingdom or Dominion? And what did you say, Izzy?
I said Dominion, but it was really only because of the legacy characters.
And I said, if the legacy characters are the only saving grace of your movie, that's kind of a bad thing because you should be able to like have a movie on your own without these legacy characters. And it sucks because Jurassic World set up these new characters so perfectly. Owengrady, clairedearing, they set them up so perfectly, and I get it. I love Ian Malcolm. I love Alangrant. I love Ellie Sattler. But they shouldn't be the only reason why this movie was good. Sure, it helps. They're the OG characters. They're legacy characters. But this is a whole new trilogy, and that shouldn't be your saving grace. And not to add in the fact that this storyline and plot is so fucking messy. Like, spoilers alert, it's been like almost 2 years, people. You should have seen this movie by now.
Yeah.
But yeah. Basically, this whole storyline is Biosyn, who is a rival company of Engine, wants to control the world, basically, by creating these locusts that will eat food crops like wheat and other stuff. But Biosyn has special seeds and vitamins in their own crops. That way, the locusts won't eat them. And it's stupid. I don't get it. Like, so, to me, that's such a 90s Saturday morning cartoon villain cliche.
Yeah, it seems like a very basic storyline for an ending of a franchise. That's kind of my issue with it. It just seems like bring back the legacy characters and have this really basic storyline. It just doesn't work for a last movie.
And there are some highlights in this movie. Like, I like the new character that introduced, Kayla Watts. Such a badass. Like, she's basically a pilot for hire, think of it that way, but she actually works really well in this movie. And I'm kind of, and Izzy knows how iffy I am when you introduce a new character at the end of a trilogy. I mean, look at Corey Cunningham in Halloween Ends. That's a character I should have been there since the beginning.
Yeah.
If they really, really wanted to do that storyline for Corey. But for Kayla, it actually pretty works out. And there are things I like about Dominion, don't get me wrong. I like seeing the Giganotosaurus. I like seeing all these different types of dinosaurs. And I like seeing these animals on the mainland, and we have to coexist with them. But you had a storyline so easily right there that could have been so cool, and you went with this locust bug storyline, and it's so dumb. And I get it. We go to these movies for such a cheesy good time, but when it's a Jurassic Park movie, I expect dinosaur action and chaos.
Exactly. It's one of those movies where I feel like it needed more. So.
No, and I agree. And it's the longest movie in the running and the franchise by like 2 hours and 29 minutes or some shit like that.
It's almost 2.5 hours.
Yeah, and Colin Trevorrow, he really wanted to go big for this movie. He filmed in different locations, all different countries, and it's cool. You can see, and I appreciate that. He really wanted to put Dominion in the name. He wanted to make usage of that title. Ugh, sorry, folks. And what sucks is the one thing I hate what this fucking movie did is they cut out the opening seen what was supposed to be the original opening scene. Izzy,
Hmm.
you want to explain?
Yeah, so the opening scene was the prologue, which was actually released a year earlier before the movie came out.
It was sorry, Izzy. It was
Yeah.
actually clipped with the new Fast and Furious movie. So that's the only way
Yeah.
you can see that opening scene was you had to buy a ticket for that movie, which I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it right now. We're never gonna cover Fast and Furious. Don't even ask. And if we even do, it's just gonna be up till 5. Because Fast and Furious 5 was the last one I've ever liked. But sorry, Izzy, continue.
It's okay. But basically, it was basically just talking more about the Cretaceous period and kind of tying in Dominion to the 1993 movie, the
Yep.
original Jurassic Park.
Yeah, and so basically you get to see like what life was like before the meteor killed every living dinosaur. You even got to see a feathered T-Rex
Mm-hmm.
fighting against the Giganotosaurus, all these different types of dinosaurs, and it's cool. And then literally right after that whole meteor scene, it cuts to the T-Rex going to a drive-in theater and causing havoc. And if that isn't so cool in 90s in itself, I don't know what the hell is. The fact that you cut that opening scene to me is kind of stupid.
Yeah.
That's your bread and butter. That's what you go to see a Jurassic Park movie for. And like I said, I have my problems with Fallen Kingdom, but at least it set up a cool storyline to which they could have really succeeded.
I agree. They should have just kept it in the movie. I think it would have enticed the audience so much more than what was given, and it would have made the movie that much better.
Yeah, I don't know about much better, but at least it would have been cooler to see, because people have been wanting to see feathered dinosaurs in this franchise.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of had it with Jurassic Park 3, and I'm one of the rare ones that actually love the designs of the velociraptors in Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah, I did too. I think it was a really cool design to see actual science in the Jurassic Park movies and what we've learned since the first movie.
So, like, if I had to give this movie a rating, I'm going to give it just a flat 6 out of 10.
A 6 out of 10.
I'm sorry. It's like, I like this movie, and I'm gonna get hate for this, I know, but I actually prefer Fallen Kingdom a little bit more.
Yeah.
I know I just shit on it last week, but at least with Fallen Kingdom, it kind of had a tone of what it wanted to do. Whereas with Dominion, it had all these storylines with you get one with the legacy characters, and you get one with owengrady, clairedearing, and their adopted daughter Maisie. Is it Maisie?
Yeah.
Maisie, and you get all this blah 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 BS, and it's like that's way too much. And it's like what Randy Meeks in the original Scream said: if you make it too complicated, you lose your core audience, and that's what Jurassic World Dominion did, and it sucks. So at least with Fallen Kingdom, I knew what they were trying to do. I may have not liked it, but at least it had a storyline.
True. I can respect that opinion. I understand that having the multiple timelines is confusing, but they did join together at the end. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But for me, I mean, I thought I was going to be harsh with giving this like a 7.9. So here in year 6, I'm like, "Oh my god." So, I'm still going to stick with my 7.9. I think it's good. I don't think it's as good as like an 8, but it's pretty up there for me anyways. Especially when it comes to like enjoyable value and like rewatch value, I still really enjoy it and seeing the characters back on screen.
Mm-hmm. All right, and I respect that opinion. All right, now we're gonna get to our positives and negatives. So starting off with our first positive, despite most of these dinosaurs being CGI, they look pretty cool. They look pretty scary, and I get it, folks. We're never gonna capture that magic that the first movie had when it came to the animatronics and CGI. For me, and I can't believe I'm saying it, the best use of the animatronics was in Jurassic Park 3. But Dominion does pretty cool shots with CGI. I mean, when you got a big budget and someone like Universal Studios backing you up with money, you're going to go all out with the CGI.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think the CGI should have been paired with animatronics. I think that looks more, but just having the CGI is really cool. They did a great job.
Yeah, and so, like, I can't really bother much into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah. The CGI looks pretty good, despite I wish there was some more animatronics. All right, and number 2 on our positive list, Claire's final story arc.
Yes.
And I'm going to keep saying it. Her story from Jurassic World all the way to Dominion, just perfect. It's the fact that in the first Jurassic World, she was this business CEO woman, just did not give a crap about anything. She didn't even crap about her nephews until maybe the very end when they were going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get Fallen Kingdom to where she's changing a lot. It's like I said, there's an elevator scene in Jurassic World where she's just there on business. And then Fallen Kingdom, she's there running her own like dinosaur rescue organization. And then in Dominion, and I respect this, she becomes a mother.
Mm-hmm.
Something that you would never expect this character to do if you just knew her from. If you were to tell someone in the past, when they first seen Jurassic World, that character would be the most evolved and she would become a mother, you would be like, there's no way. I mean, yeah, her character changed, but you just couldn't see it from a mile coming away.
Yeah, I think her character development is great throughout the movies, and it's kind of like a callback to the first movie. You think Claire's not going to be this businesswoman, isn't going to be like her sister, but that's basically what she turns into by Dominion, which
Yeah.
I think is really cool.
And I'll add another positive is that it kind of matches Blue, with
Mm-hmm.
her, okay, in this franchise, I get like, it explains that some of the female dinosaurs can reproduce asexually to have animal babies of their own. And so it's cool to see Blue come from this wild, trained animal to being a mother,
Mm-hmm.
just like Claire. And so it's a nice parallel between both characters. Granted, I still have my problems with the velociraptors usage in this trilogy, but at least I can respect the character of Blue, and I do like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think the parallel between them is a great connection.
All right. And number 3 on our positive list is going to go to the new character, Kayla Watts. And like I said, in the movie, she sets a pilot for hire, but she has morals, and you can see that, and I respect it.
Yeah. For her being a character that's added at the very end of the trilogy, I think she does a great job. She does well with all the actors, with Owen and Claire. I think she just meshes well with the whole entire group.
Yeah, like she has really good chemistry with a lot of the cast. The new character, Ramsey, he was okay, but it was one that I wasn't really that invested in. But it was Kayla, and I know that Colin Trevorrow did say that the Jurassic World trilogy was done, but there were future plans for maybe more sequels. And her character could play a large part in those sequels. I'd welcome it, especially with Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard confirming that they probably won't come back to this franchise again. This sucks. Yeah, I know you're giving me that look.
I'm like, I didn't know that.
But if you think about it, Chris Pratt's and Bryce Dallas Howard characters were done.
Yeah, I agree.
They had their story ending right then and there. And I'm going to say it right now, the legacy characters aren't going to come back. They confirmed that this was their last movie.
Yeah, which honestly I'm happy with. I'm happy with their ending.
Yeah.
So
yeah, new character Kayla. She's a badass addition, and I hope we do get a future sequel with her. And finally, with our last positive, and we keep mentioning it, the legacy characters. Now, Ian Malcolm is probably the only legacy character. I think he is the only one that have the most appearances in the franchise. He was in Jurassic Park, Lost World. He was actually in Jurassic World, but on a book cover. It's kind of like a blink and you miss a moment. So you can kind of count that. And then he was in Fallen Kingdom, and then he's in Dominion. So that's 5 films compared to the other legacy characters.
Yeah.
And they're just as perfect as they were in the original trilogy. It's as if they've never left and lost their chemistry and groove.
Yeah, it was so nice seeing all 3 of them back, and especially seeing them together. I wish we got more screen time with all 3 of them together, because that's kind of what I miss in this movie. It was really nice seeing the storyline between Grant and Ellie too, and that progressed from the first movie. So yeah, I mean, having the legacy characters back was one of my highlights of this movie.
Yeah, and it was my highlight too. Just seeing Jeff Goldblum being Jeff Goldblum, that's always a highlight, man. That dude can just play himself in a movie, and I would still love it. And granted, I'm still kind of iffy on their whole storyline of why they're there. To stop Biosyn. And Lewis Dotson's character actually comes back, but he's played by a different actor. Now, I'm not going to say why they replaced that actor from the original Jurassic Park, just because it is a little controversial, and I'm not going to talk about shit like that on this channel. If you're really that curious, look it up. They have it on Google. That's what Google's for. But yeah, and so I guess that's another legacy character you could say, Lewis Dodson.
Yeah,
granted, it is a different actor, but it's still a cool character. He was very present in the first novel and in the Lost World novel.
Yeah.
He was always a villain no matter what.
Yeah.
But the one thing I kind of hate about this whole legacy character stuff is that Ellie divorces her husband from Jurassic Park 3. The one that has connections to the the Secretary of Defense or some BS. Damn, wouldn't that have been nice to have in this movie?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And so, and then her and Alan kind of get back together, which I don't mind, But then it's like, you guys should have just stood together the whole time. You guys should have had a kid together. Shit.
I like them being together at the end.
Yeah. And so, yeah. And that's going to do it for our positives. And now we're going to get into our negatives, ladies and gentlemen. So we're starting off with our first negative, the character of Maisie. And I do not like hating on children actors. And I get it. I do not blame the actors themselves. I blame it more on the writing. But believe me when I say that Maisie plays like a typical teenage girl in a movie. She is like, I get it. Her whole storyline is like she thinks she's a clone, but it's revealed that she was actually born as a baby. But I
Mhm.
think, what was it like? I'm trying to remember. What was the whole thing?
So basically, her mom had her asexually. So basically, she was a clone of her mom, but she was birthed from her mom. So she's not necessarily a clone, but more of a child of her mom with the same exact DNA.
Because okay, now I remember, because the mom had a disease
Yep.
and she wanted to make sure that her baby wouldn't have a disease. So yeah,
Yep.
so it clears our whole cloning storyline that I do not like in Fallen Kingdom. But still, even then, this character just, she's always moody. She wants to go out to the world, and I get it, but it's like, dude, you're being hunted by poachers, Biosyn, and Lewis Dodson. You need to stay home. Like, a lot of problems in these movies were caused because of her, and it's like, dude, if you just stood home, and they wouldn't have to travel across the world just to rescue you.
Yeah, I can understand that with Maisie's character. She does play like a typical teenager, but at the same time, you can kind of sympathize with their character of trying to find out who she is. So, I mean, if you want to be sympathetic, sure, but she still does play like a bratty teenager.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm so mad at her for releasing the dinosaurs.
Me
I mean,
too.
granted, at least it could have led to another cool storyline, but it's like, come on, dude, these things are gonna fucking kill you. They're gonna kill us.
Yeah.
And even it's not even just the killing; it's the fact that these things will cause a lot of property damage and f you up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and it's to our second negative, the character of Henry Wu. Now, in last week's episode, I will explain why I do not like this character anymore. And I kind of explained it to Izzy before we even recorded this episode. So, my biggest problem with this character, in the first Jurassic Park movie, yeah, he kind of has some sway to him, like a little, like, he thinks he's all that. But at least you can tell this dude had morals. Like, he wasn't like, I mean, I guess he was trying to play God,
Mm-hmm.
but you can tell that he wasn't all that bad, just a smart dude, proud of his work. Sure. I mean, who wouldn't be? In Jurassic World, they kind of play into the villain role. It's like, oh, okay, you're kind of looking like Lewis Dodson from the novels. Because Henry Wu died in the first Jurassic Park movie by a raptor. I thought that would happen. Never did. And then here comes Fallen Kingdom, to where this dude is a full-blown villain. To where he wants to capture Blue and use her DNA to control the Indoraptor, or something like that, to be Blue, to be the Indoraptor's mom, in a
Yeah,
sense.
pretty much.
He's a full-blown villain. I don't give a crap what you are, what you try to say or redeem. You're a
Mm-hmm.
villain. And then here comes Dominion, and now all of a sudden he's regretting his actions. I'm sorry, but it just doesn't work. There's no way. I don't like it. I'd rather he have just stood a villain and kind of play the role of Lewis Dodson from the first two books, and then get his novel death or something like that.
Yeah, I agree. It was just too much of a turnaround time for his character to be from this super duper bad guy to this, oh, I want to do good and save the world. It just doesn't work. There's not enough time in between.
Yeah, and I get it. People do change. But with the way this trilogy was setting him up,
Mhm.
I bet your ass, see, we're going to make him a villain. But then for
Yeah.
some reason, they just did a complete 180. And it's like, what the hell?
Mhm.
Like, I mean, I'm not hating on the actor. He does a good job. I like him in other things too. BD Wong. But your character was a full blown villain in Fallen Kingdom.
Mhm.
And the fact that he got redeemed, like, that's like, I'm trying to compare it. What can I compare it to? That's like trying to make Megatron into a good guy, into an Autobot. That's not gonna work. This
Yeah.
man killed that Decepticon, killed millions and millions of Autobots. That's like if one day he woke up and said, I think I want to be an Autobot. That's not gonna work. He like, you already done, the damage is done already. You're a
Yeah.
villain.
Nope.
All right. And number 3 on our negative list of writing and pacing, It feels completely off. Izzy, you want to take this one?
So, with the writing and pacing in this movie, it really, like we mentioned earlier, it bounces off between like two different timelines following Maisie, and then it follows the legacy characters, and then it turns off to go to like the a third thing to follow Owen and Kayla, and it just turns into this big old mess where eventually it does come into at the end for like the last probably like 20 minutes.
Yeah, and it's like, and that's one of the things. That's one of the problems I had with Ant-Man and the Wasp:
Mhm.
Quantumania was that we have. I mean, I'm not a okay. I'm not against multiple storylines, but at least try to make them make sense. I think the perfect movie that had multiple storylines and did it so well was Independence Day.
Mhm.
Easily. That's how you do multiple storylines because they all interconnected. Yeah, it was last minute, but at least they were getting to the same destination.
Yeah.
And Dominion, yeah, sure they do with the Biosyn dinosaur sanctuary, but even then, it's like, I mean, like in a way, it kind of questions you. It's like, do we even need these legacy characters in this movie, or do we even need Owen and Claire in this movie? And so it brings up a lot. And then even the pacing in this movie just feels sometimes it feels way too fast, sometimes it feels way too long.
Mhm.
I would have liked to see what life was more like, with the dinosaurs being coexisting with us, but you never really see that. Yeah, you get snippets of it, like let's just say the mosasaurus in the ocean trying to eat surfers,
Mhm.
or a brachiosaurus just crossing the street, or even a T-Rex in the forest. But like you just never get enough time with that. They try to focus your attention on this whole locust storyline, which still doesn't make sense to me, and it's just everything just feels off in this movie.
Yeah, it feels like for the parts that we want to see, there's not enough time for, and the parts we really aren't interested in, they put way too much time in for, which is just one of the downfalls of this movie, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it sucks because I really wanted to love this movie,
Mhm.
and I still like it. I have a good time with it, but I don't love it.
Yeah.
It's one to where when we rewatch it, I'm just like, stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right, and number 4 on our negative list is the plot and storyline. Now, I'm not gonna keep explaining it. We already said it,
Yeah.
but I'm just gonna say it right now, and I kind of said it to Izzy. This storyline that I would have preferred, I know it's going to sound cliche, but at least to me, it makes a little bit more sense than the one that we got.
Mhm.
How cool would it have been for this storyline that dinosaurs are literally breeding to the point where it's out of control? They're coming into like homes, like there's deaths, there's the economy's going down. It's a ecosystem natural disaster.
Mhm.
You could have had a storyline to where the government was working with the company of Biosyn and maybe Engine to where they hire Owen Grady, Claire Dearing, Ian Malcolm, almost call him Jeff Goldblum, Alan Grant, and Ellie Sadler, to where you could have hired those 5 characters and the character of Kayla,
Yeah.
to where you could have hired them and said that, they need help capturing these dinos around the world, just like the dangerous ones, like
Mhm.
the really, really dangerous ones. And Biosyn promises that they have a dinosaur sanctuary for them, but you can have like an underground plot line to where Lewis Dotson is dealing with terrorists or other countries under their table, giving them dinosaurs or dinosaur DNAs to do whatever the hell they want, whether making weapons or anything like that,
Mhm.
and take money from them. I mean, I know that sounds cliche, but at least that storyline would have made more sense because then you get to see the chaos that the dinosaurs are doing, just like what Ian Malcolm says in the first Jurassic Park. Life finds a way, and it would have been cool to see which species is going to triumphate. Is it going to be us, the humans? Is it going to be the dinosaurs? Are they going to take it back? You could have done it in a way where it was like Planet of the Apes, the Matt Reeves trilogy, where that I'm still saying that's the best trilogy ever made. A remake trilogy, yeah. Let me clarify that. You could have done it in a way where it could have been cool, but instead we get this whole Biosyn wants to control the world's food source by having these locusts eat other crops, except for the ones Biosyn has because of vitamins and seeds. That's I'm sorry. I tried getting behind it, and I just can't do it.
Yeah, I think the storyline that you mentioned would be really cool. My only issue with it is I feel like it would be super similar to Fallen Kingdom. That's like my only thing. But and I also heard the only reason they really went with the Locust storyline was because they were trying to find a role to put Ellie back in and like why she would come back. So which I feel like that's kind of, I feel like they could have done more than just bugs for
Well,
her.
I mean, like, look at Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah,
She was
exactly.
barely in it. She was only in it because that one fucking stupid plot line.
Yeah.
Oh, her husband has connections to the military defense. Yeah, where was that at in this movie?
Yeah.
Huh. And then finally, with our final negative, and ladies and gentlemen, it pains me to say this because I love this franchise, but our final negative, this franchise is running out of ideas and losing its identity. Now, before you guys bring out your knives and torches, let me just explain this. We love this series. This is the series that that made us nerd out together and basically made us a couple.
Mhm.
It was one of the first things we bonded over.
Yep.
When I come to see a Jurassic Park movie, I want dinosaur chaos and action. And the whole point of this franchise was dinosaurs eventually going into the mainland and coexisting with us.
Yeah.
But it just seems like they want to make it way too action. Like, I get it. You're never going to capture that feeling of the first movie, that magic, that ooh, ah. But at least try to be unique, try to be its own thing. Doing a bug locust storyline isn't going to do it at all.
Yeah, it just felt like you were staring at bugs the whole movie. So so it just took away from that dinosaur point of view. And like we said earlier, we wanted to see more of the dino and human blend and see how they worked in the ecosystem, and we didn't get that. We got it for maybe like 5 minutes, and that
Mm-hmm.
was it. We should have gotten more, cuz that's basically what I feel this whole franchise has been building up to.
Yeah, and then you're gonna end it with the whole Lucas storyline. Like, you just can't do that. I mean, I guess maybe if you subtly like hinted at it in the beginning of this trilogy, maybe.
Yeah.
But even then, and what I mean by losing its identity is that it doesn't know if it wants to be like the original trilogy or wants to be this action movie.
Mhm.
You know, like, and I know Jurassic Park has action in it, but at least the original trilogy had horror atmosphere, just stuff like that. You know, some of the Jurassic World movies, yeah, especially Fallen Kingdom, do have a horror atmosphere, but I feel like they don't really have an idea of what type of trilogy they want to be.
Yeah, it's more, I felt they wanted to be their own thing, but also still relate to Jurassic Park, but they just didn't meet the mark by the end of by the end of their own trilogy. It didn't work.
Yeah, and it sucks that Jurassic World was a step in the right
Mhm.
direction. It was perfect. It was perfect. And then Fallen Kingdom is like, Dominion. It ruined a lot of potential this trilogy could have had.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, but like I said, it sucks. Now, here's a big question I want to ask Izzy and you guys, the viewers and listeners. Do we think this franchise should stay dormant?
Um, for me, I think it should stay dormant for a while. It doesn't need any remakes. It needs to let this generation soak it in. I mean, Dominion came out what, 2022?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
So
2022. Yeah,
2022. So that's what I mean. Like, it literally, the last movie came out last year. We should just let the movie sit. And we still have like we still have TV shows with Camp Cretaceous, which is more for kids, but still, it's part of the franchise. Um, so, but yeah, I do think it should stay dormant for a while.
yeah, and I'm gonna agree. I think it should stay dormant for maybe 10 years.
Mhm.
That way we miss it and want it, and you can come up with a better storyline. At least plan it out. Boom, have a map out, a roadmap.
Yeah.
Just don't make cash grabs. I mean, I get it. People are always gonna want to see dinosaurs on the big screen,
Mhm.
but when it comes to a franchise like Jurassic Park, you have to take care of it. It's my childhood. Like I said in our first episode when we covered Jurassic Park, what Star Wars is to a lot of people is what Jurassic Park is to me. And so with Dominion, the fact that, and I loved it, Izzy will tell you, I loved Dominion at first, but
Mhm.
after so many rewatches, I'm just like, what the hell, I mean, I'm glad we got to see the legacy characters again, but that shouldn't be the reason why that was a good movie.
Yeah.
It should be because you built up to the story, this badass story with these badass characters. We went on a journey with them. And then now all of a sudden it takes a complete 180. It's like, no.
Yeah, it just didn't meet the mark for our our expectations for a franchise finale.
Yeah. But if you love Dominion, respect to you.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, we're not going to judge you. You know, some people love Dominion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's perfectly okay. Hell, some people think Fallen Kingdom was the best one in the franchise. That's perfectly fine. You know, like I said, I prefer Fallen Kingdom a little bit more than Dominion. She prefers Dominion a little bit more than Fallen Kingdom. It's all, you know, as long as you're being respectful about your opinions and others, it doesn't really matter.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, people, this is going to conclude our Jurassic Park takeover. Now, next week, next Friday, we're going to have our official ranking of the Jurassic Park franchise. And after that, the week after, we're going to cover the Spider-Man franchise, and I am so excited. And don't forget, this Sunday, we're having Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 spoiler-free and spoiler review. And now, just like our Renfield and Evil Dead Rise spoiler-free and spoiler review, the first 6 minutes will be spoiler-free. And we usually time ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, we'll give you guys a warning.
Yeah.
You know, and Izzy, how do you feel that we finished this franchise?
I'm kind of sad. I mean, this is our first big franchise that we've covered on this channel. It's like full franchise, so it's kind of sad. But also, I'm really proud of us for doing this.
Yeah, and it was fun. I had a lot of fun just even looking at behind the scenes, even telling you guys some book facts about, you know, the Jurassic Park novel and even the Lost World novel. You know, telling you how if they were to do a faithful adaptations of the Jurassic Park novel, it'd be rated R. Yeah. And it would be more horror than action because people get fucked up in these books. It goes into detail about how they're getting gutted, getting their intestines ripped out, everything. You know, who knows? Maybe one day I'll even read you some quotes from the Jurassic Park books. I have them. You know, let me actually show you guys our Lost World novel. Where is it, Izzy?
Right here.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Hold up. Yep. It's a good. This is my favorite one. My favorite novel in the Jurassic Park series and my favorite movie in the Jurassic Park series. But yeah, let us know in the comments below. What did you think of Dominion? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you in the middle? Do you think this franchise should stay dormant for a while? You know, what's your least favorite in the franchise? What's your most favorite in the franchise? And as always, take care of others and take care of yourselves. And we'll catch you in the next episode. All right, guys. We'll see you Sunday. Peace out.
Bye, guys.